Super. Thank you. Okay, yeah, that was weird. But I was saying thank you so much for joining me on a Sunday morning and taking out a lot of time from your weekend. So just wanted to tell you that today we're going to talk about something so I've been doing this community of almost 22,000 people now for a while. And I figured out there are a few things that people who are not able to charge a lot of money for their content are doing wrong, right? And I thought about it for a long time. Actually, I've been sitting on it for many months, and I finally have figured out a framework, which is what I'm going to talk you through today. And I've realized that if you are not able to charge big money for your work, then something or the other in that framework chain is broken and you need to work on it, right? So I'm going to walk you through those steps today, and you have to do a bit of self-assessment to see where do you stand and what is that broken link that you need to fix to be able to get highly paid projects. Okay. So we're going to do that one. And we are going, secondly, what I'm also going to do is towards the end of this, I'm going to talk you through my 8-week program, which is starting in December. So if you like to hear about the program, you can stay till the end. That's when I'll also answer the questions that you might have about the session that we're doing today, right? So super. Before we get started, I just want to have a quick check on how many of you have attended my webinars before and how many of you are new. So if you're new, just type new in the chat window, please. I'll just get a sense of what you already know. Okay, lots of new folks joining in. Wow. Okay. That's a lot of new people. Cool. Uh, so even if you are someone who's attended my webinars before, there are few things I'm going to refer back to. But overall, in this framework, this is sort of fresh content. So hopefully you will find a lot of interesting takeaways. And this is, like I said, it's meant for introspection, right? For you to sit and after this webinar, like don't treat it like another webinar that you've come, you've attended, and you've forgotten after you've left. Sit and think on, okay, what is this broken link that I can fix, right? So I'm hoping all of you would be able to go back and do that. Cool. So for the new people, I'm Supriya. I'm the founder of this company called Upgrade Consulting, which is a content and consulting agency. I've been doing content, communication, corporate stuff for over 16 years now. And earlier this year, I also started the Content Collective, which is why you're all here, which is basically a program designed to help content writers find their high paying niches and, make a good living and a good life out of their passion. So that's who I am. And what I'm going to do is I'll start sharing a presentation with you. If you have any questions at any point in time, you can put them in the Q&A box because the chat is like a lot of stuff happening and I might miss them. And towards the end of the webinar, I will look at those questions and I'll try and answer as many as possible. We have 1.5 hours today, so there's plenty of time to go over stuff. But yes, I've crammed a lot of information in the webinar also. So I'm hoping that everybody will have at least something that you can, that would be like an aha moment. And if you do have an aha moment, which is like, oh, wow, I never thought about it like this before, or, oh, wow, this is new, right? If you have those, just put them in the chat window as well, because, then I know that you're taking away something, that you're understanding what I'm trying to say. And there is some stuff that resonates with you, right? So I'd really like it to be more of an interactive session. Super. Cool. So I'm sharing my screen now. Okay. Just say okay in the chat box if you can see my screen and if you can see only the presentation slide and nothing else. Super. Okay. I guess most of you can see it. Yeah. Okay, so the framework that I've designed, it's called Ascend, and I'm going to give you the details of what it is. But before we start, I just wanted to give you a bit of background of what's happening in the content industry, okay? And I don't know how many of you know this poem, the Mariner Saga, which is there's a very interesting line in that, right? Water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. And what the marina is trying to say is he's stranded at sea and there's seawater everywhere, and that's not palatable, right? You can't drink seawater. But that's what is sort of happening in the content space also, because this is a very, very lucrative market. You know, there are by 2027, which is just 4 years from now, this market is going to be over $584 billion, right? That much money is going to be spent on content writing, on content marketing, and on content related activities. Yeah. So if it's going to be 584 billion in 2027, which means several $1 billion are already being spent. And if you just look at blogs as one category of content writing, 7 million blogs are published every day. So someone is sitting and writing those blogs, right? And who are these people who are writing this thing and getting a big piece of that $1 billion, multi-billion dollar industry that's out there? Yeah, it's definitely not a large volume of content writers, because I did a poll in my community, which is a fairly statistically relevant poll because several hundred people responded to it. And I found that 58% of people in India, especially, are earning less than 2 rupees a word. Okay. Which is, if you think of it in absolute terms, if you write, you'll have to write thousands of words to actually make like a seven-figure income. Yeah. And that would translate into multiple articles. And I also know that there are lots of agencies out there who expect their writers to churn out around 3,000, 4,000 words a day, which I feel is sort of insane, right? It's humanly impossible. Your brain is just going to like short and die out because there's so much cognitive load on you. Where is the time to research and write quality stuff? You're just mindlessly typing away things. And that's the vicious cycle, right? People are getting so busy writing that they're not taking time to stop and think, and which is why they're getting paid, you know, less. How many of you think that's what's happening to you, that you're writing a lot of words but you're not able to monetize it well enough? Just say, type me or +1 in the chat window. Oh wow. Yeah, I feel you. Yes, I know. it feels it it's like so much effort has gone in, right? But uh what is the output that you're getting? Somebody saying they write 70,000 words a month but get 25,000 rupees a month. That's a payout. That's insane. That is insane. um, and just to give you a context, I write 750 words and I get paid 30,000 rupees for that article. So you see the gap, right? So what I'm trying to tell you here is why I have been able to bridge that gap and why I'm not in the 2 rupee bucket, but I've reached a place where I can charge very easily 40 rupees a word. Yeah. Um, so this is a question for you to think about. Like I said, this is going to be a little bit of introspection also. Why are you not getting paid well to write? Can you just maybe type a few responses in the chat box, that why do you think you're not getting paid well to write? What is the missing element? What are you not able to breach? Just give me your thoughts in the chat window. Nobody else can read them. Okay. Some of you are saying that there's a value proposition which is missing. Some of you are saying that you're not able to get the right platform. Some of you are saying not the right clients. You're not able to understand their client's business proposition. You're not able to get the right micro niche. Okay. Can't find the right client. Yes. What else? Anyone else? Okay. Content quality issues. Not writing concise stuff. Yes. Okay, so at some level, all of these are issues that you might face as a content writer. Okay, here's my take on why you're not getting paid. And I've been working with clients for over as a business owner. Like I spent 8 years in corporate, and then the remaining 8 years I spent working with clients as a business owner and freelancer. And this is what I have understood, that if you're not getting paid big money, one is, of course, because you're not able to find the right clients and the right projects. Yeah, and I'll explain what I mean by that later when I get to the framework, right? Second is you don't understand what is it that the client wants, and therefore you're not able to deliver up to their expectations, right? Third is that you lack specialization, which is you don't understand the industry or you don't understand the subject matter that they're trying to talk about or communicate through their content. The fourth bit is that you're just another writer in the crowd and you're unable to stand out, which means that you don't have a strong value proposition of yourself as a person or as a brand, right? uh, and which also leads to the next point, right? That you're unable to show them the value that you're bringing to the table because you may have a great value proposition, but you've not articulated it well, right? One more point is that you don't know your worth and you're not confident enough to ask for higher pay, which is also a challenge, right? Because clients are not going to come up front and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to pay you so much money. You've got to anchor that number in their head, right? And finally, you don't have anyone raving about your work. So if I don't know what you've done for someone else, I don't know where to start um, thinking about it. Yeah. Um, cool. So, to the point on niches, okay? I get this question a lot. What should be my niche? What is a high paying niche, right? And I know it might be going against conventional wisdom, but I sort of feel that every niche has high paying opportunities if you know where to look for them, right? So I work literally in all places, right? I've written about wines, detergents, perfumes, fabric softeners. Mainly I write for tech, but I also written for coaching industry, so I've written on spirituality, I've written on personal finance, I've written across different niches, and all of them have paid me the money that I've asked for, right? So basically, you need to figure more than the niche. The niche should come from what is the sector that you know where you feel most comfortable, where you know that you don't have to research too much to actually create an amazing piece of content. And that's where you should try and build your expertise, right? But if you're a very fresh new content writer, there's no harm in trying different types of writing, trying different types of niches, and saying, okay, finally this works for me. So don't get hung up on the niche as such, because everywhere there is money. And this is the pyramid I talk to people in my 8 week intensive most of the time, that every company has a pyramid of content that they create. At the lowest level, there's the volume content, right? Which is their social media, SEO blogs, product descriptions, product sheets, listing pages, blah, 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 right? And this is what they outsource for really cheap prices, right? They don't want to pay a lot of money for it. And this is where most of the content writers end up operating. Why? Because this is grunt work. This is labor. This doesn't need a lot of thinking through. As you move up the pyramid, that's where you need to start using your brains, and that's what people end up paying for, right? So the mid-tier content gets paid more than volume content, which is like creating their sales collateral, like their brochures or flyers or websites or case studies, their annual reports, their ads, um, emails, etc. Right? And then when you move on to premium content, that is where their leaders, the personal brands of the leaders, the thought leadership content, which shows the company in a great light, their media articles, their research reports. There's lots of stuff happening in every area, right? So if you today look at, for example, L'Oreal, they're not only talking about cosmetics in the sense that they're just doing those ads or product descriptions. They're also like their leaders are talking in different forums, and that's where there's space to create content as well. So every niche will have that opportunity. You just need to know where to go and look for it, right? um I can see a lot of questions popping up in the chat, but please put them in the Q&A box, so I will answer them towards the end of the webinar. Okay. Cool. So again, from my experience, what do clients pay for? Clients pay for expertise and quality, right? The reason they're outsourcing, and convenience and trust and reliability, right? Because they're outsourcing work to make life easier for them. Yeah. If you're not a content writer who can deliver them amazing stuff without bothering them too much about it, then they're not interested, right? Then they feel that, okay, if I have to put in so much effort, why am I going to pay so much money? So my clients pay me because, one, they don't even have to tell me what is the topic to write on. I have researched so much in this industry that I can tell them what is it that they need to do. So this happened to me just like day before Friday. A client of mine called up and she's like, my CEO has a interview, a media interview, and my team hasn't put up any great questions, please help me out. What is a topic that he can talk on? And in that 10-minute call, we, you know, arrived at a interesting topic that the CEO could talk to. And then she's like, can you please give me some talking points on it? I have to send it out today. And in the next 2 hours, I had made like some 5 pages of talking points and sent it to her, right? So that is what then clients will pay for. She didn't even ask me how much I'm going to charge for it. When I sent the talking points, I said, okay, I'm billing for so many hours of effort. And it was like, okay, cool, right? So, so if you are able to make yourself really valuable to a client, be it through your expertise, be it through the quality of content you deliver, be it through the convenience you get to them, right? You deliver the stuff fastest, you deliver it the best, you always make sure that their deadlines, their requirements are met, whatever it is, right? If you make it easy for them, and over time, if you build trust and reliability, they are willing to open their wallets to you, right? So if you are able to understand and take away these three things, I think you're already on your way to become a really highly paid content writer. But I also know that many of you will go back and completely forget this, right? So I will try and get you to at least ask some questions to yourself once we move forward. Yeah. So today I'm going to try and cover all of these things. That first you figure out where you stand, right? So assess your skills, where you are. Then we'll also talk about how do you go about making your writing better. Then how do you learn, how do you stand out in a competitive market? Because like there are lots of content writers out there. And finally, figure out where are the high paying content writing opportunities, right? So we'll talk through all of this, and we will talk through it with the Ascend framework. So like I said in the beginning, I know some of you joined a little later. This is the step-by-step framework to get to high-paying clients. If you're not able to get high-paying clients, that means one or more of these steps is broken. So you have to think through what is broken and then put in place some measures to fix it. And once you're able to do that, that's when those high-paying projects will start pouring in, right? And I'll also try and tell you some stories as we move along so that you know that all of this has a basis in fact and real life experience. Um, so the first pillar, of course, is the assessment, which is, you know, what are your skills like, where do you stand in the market. The second pillar, which is the S, is about strengthening your writing ability. The third pillar, which is the C, is about creating a compelling portfolio. The next pillar, which is E, which is engaging with, you know, the writing community, the network, etc. The next pillar is negotiating like a pro, and the pillar after that is delivering consistent quality and consistent results, right? So we'll talk through them one after the other. Okay. So I want you to take, if you have a pen or if you're like whatever device that you're joining from, take out a quick note and think about this a little. I know those of you who are beginners might not be able to do this exercise 100%, but you can go back and think about it a little more. I would say think of it like this, right? Think of it that you're starting from scratch. Okay. Who are the kind of people you'd like to work for? People, companies, where do they operate in, etc. Right? So, for example, I've also given an example on the side about a mid-tier tech startup. But if I were to talk about myself, my niche is very clear. I work with B2B technology companies, IT service companies specifically, which is my, very ideal client. And then, okay, some of them are product companies as well. So I work with them. They must have at least $1 billion in revenue, right? Because marketing budgets are tied to revenues. So typically marketing budgets are 10 to 15% of company revenues. And like, if you look at companies who are really going after marketing, they park that much. If not, at least 5% of revenues is marked for marketing budgets. And then from within that, you take out more, a smaller chunk and say, okay, this is going to go into content marketing. So the higher the revenue of a company, the higher they're spending in marketing, the higher they're spending in content marketing. And therefore, if you work with them, there is more chances that they will pay you, the going market rate at least, if not something really high paying. Yeah. So write down who is your ideal client. Then what are the pain points they face? right? So, for example, in this case, they're struggling to create engaging tech content for non-tech audience, and that's a challenge for my clients as well. They're talking to business CEOs of different industries who maybe don't understand tech that well. So, how do I move away from technology and really talk about the applications in their business, right? So, maybe if you're doing the detergent thing, for example, then the challenge for these companies is it's a very undifferentiated product, right? Like people don't think twice about, okay, what am I putting in my washing machine? How do you stand out and differentiate yourself? What is the kind of message? How do you make people make this detergent the first choice, right? So, what are those problems or what are the pain points your potential clients are facing? Anyone who's thought through it right now, who's your ideal client? You want to put it in the chat window? It doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing has to be ever be perfect. You just have to take that dive and say, these are the kind of people I want to work for, right? It could be coaching. It could be, you know, like I said, lifestyle. It could be fashion. Someone is saying travel, semiconductor industry, B2B manufacturing. Great. So you've got those one specific areas now drilled down, right? As for example, if you said travel, what kind of travel companies you want to work with? Right? So I know, for example, all these travel websites, they pay really low money to write some travel blogs. But maybe if you write an article for Nat Geo, you will get paid a lot more, right? So who are these people? Some of them, some of you are saying hospitality. Um, okay. Someone has a very similar target market for mine, like mine with $500 million in revenue. Okay. Dental products. Cool. But like I said, drill it down, create a ideal client profile and say, this is what I will go after, right? And then now that you've got it, right, like you've got unique travel destinations, you've got yoga, Ayurveda, health, whatever medicine, pharma that people are putting in, think about what are these companies trying to communicate to their audience and what are the challenges that they might face in that communication, right? And then you have to also say, where are these people looking for content writers? So smaller companies who are looking for quick work might go to sites like Freelancer or Upwork, but a lot of people are using LinkedIn also as platforms to look for content writing experts, right? So you've got to have your bio really polished and really out there. Then you have to see what is the competitive landscape, right? Yeah. So, for example, if you're saying I'm a SEO blog writer, that is such a crowded space, such a crowded space. So, how will you stand out from there, right? So, you have to define other SEO writers are very keyword focused, they're doing keyword stuffing, versus I am focusing more on the message and then I'm using keywords as something which, just embeds into the content seamlessly. So even as a SEO writer, I don't lose focus on what is the ultimate message, right? So how do you define that competitive landscape and your place in it? And then finally, how much do your clients invest in content and what type of content do they create, right? So that's the research you will have to do before you start approaching any clients for work, okay? Don't just send random messages that give me work. I get so many of them, hundreds of messages every day, and there's no way that I can respond to all of them. Yeah. And that's the case with a lot of other clients also. Unless you specifically tell them, hey, you know what, I know this is your problem. I know, this is what other content writers are doing, and therefore I'm able to offer you a better solution. Sorry, nobody's interested, right? So you have to make that very clear, the value proposition, and that's going to happen when you know what is the market and what are they looking for. Okay. Second is where do you stand? Okay. Now you might have done a great market analysis, but you may not have the right skills or expertise or quality, right? So you need to work on that. So I'd like you to rate yourself um, from 1 to 10 on the following. Um, Expertise. How well do you know the niche you want to write for? Just quickly type in your ratings in the chat box. Only I can see it, nobody else. 1 is the lowest rating, 10 is the highest rating. Okay, someone is saying 1, 6, 8, 4, 1, 2, 1. Okay, so all of those who are saying who are less than 5. Okay, in expertise, you've got to level up. In fact, I would say if you're less than 6 or 7 in the expertise level, you have to level up. 8, 9, 10 are acceptable. Um, Below 7, I don't think people are going to. So that won't be the highly paid club. For highly paid, expertise has to be established. Yeah. So, and I know expertise can be a lot of different things, right? Now, today's webinar wouldn't address how do you go about building that expertise. I'm going to leave that up to you. We are all adults here. We're all intelligent people. I'm sure we can take decisions on our own that, okay, if I'm, quoting myself as 1 or 2 in the expertise level in a niche, what can I do to level up, right? So that's a question you have to ask yourself. Second is quality. How well do you write? You want to quickly put up in the chat window rating 1 to 10, 1 lowest, 10 highest. 7, 8, 9. Okay, awesome. 7, 8, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 1, 2. Cool. So if quality is of writing is definitely important. So I'm going to rate it even higher than the expertise. So at least a 9 to 10 is what you need to have in the language that you are writing in. I'm not even saying English, okay? You could be writing vernacular, but whatever language that is, make sure that you have very, very strong command over the language. And when I say strong command, vocabulary is my least concern. I would say grammar is what you need to get to first, right? Because grammar is like the building block of any language. But again, action item. Think about how you will improve the quality and get to 9 to 10. Yeah. Um, and similarly, rate for convenience. Do you make your client's life easy? Like, how has been your experience of working with the client? Does the stuff that you write come back often for feedback? Does the client have to spend a lot of time reviewing what you write? Do they have to change a lot in what you've written? Do you always miss out, deadlines, stuff like that? So those factors are also important in terms of convenience and trust and reliability. Okay. So can actually the client rely on you to deliver on their expectations, and you will know it, right? Because they'll come forward and tell you that, hey, you know what, Sanjeev, I know that if I've given you this piece of content, it will come back amazingly written to me, so I don't have to worry about it. So are you taking that worry off your client's shoulders is what we are trying to assess. So rate yourself honestly, okay, on these 5 questions, and then make a plan of how are you going to improve and how are you going to get above 8 in all of these, okay? And I'm going to leave that for you to do. My next thing is going to be the strengthening your writing ability part, because ultimately I'm coaching people on how to be better writers. So I've got to give you some tools to do that. And that's going to be a very quick, you know, a quick look at what you can do to strengthen your writing ability. And I keep repeating this many times that there is no way to be a better writer than to write. Okay. So reading and writing are the only ways you can make yourself, a good writer. So these are my best practices to to improve your writing ability. First is, of course, read widely, read often, read everything that you can possibly read. Write daily, experiment with different styles and tones. And again, in the 8-week program, we sort of dive much deeper into this. Take writing courses. This is the most important, okay? Solicit and act on feedback. A lot of times people think I'm a great writer and somebody gives them feedback and then they contest that feedback. That how can you say that my writing is not good? Be open to feedback. If somebody is saying that, sorry, this is not good writing, then there's scope for improvement, and you can see what can you do to make this better, more acceptable to the reader, because ultimately it doesn't matter what you write, it matters what the reader takes away. So the reader is giving you a feedback, take it and work on it, right? Practice editing and proofreading. And the next slide, I'll also give you some tools you can use to do that. Learn to tell stories. Stories are really, really important. And I'll tell you why it's even more important. We are in the age of ChatGPT today. And I don't want to scare you, but nobody's going to pay for grunt work anymore. Nobody's going to pay for SEO blogs or Google ad scripts or product descriptions because AI can do it much better than you. Yeah. They're gonna pay for people who will be able to tell stories, their stories, the company stories, the brand stories, which AI doesn't know. Yeah. So you have to level up your storytelling skills, right? Uh, of course, keep up with industry trends. That's the expertise part that helps you tell better stories, that helps you write better content. Join writing groups or forums, so practice with each other, right? That's where you get the feedback. And engage in writing challenges or prompts. So in the WhatsApp community, we keep doing that sometimes. And Fahim, maybe if you can put the, you know, okay, we'll share that later. The link to the WhatsApp community, so you can join that as well if you're not already a part of it, and you can also become a part of these challenges or prompts. And one thing that I didn't put here, but I think is really important, is um, review other people's work as well, right? Because when you do that, you get yourself a lot of new perspectives. You sort of figure out how are other people approaching, this topic, or how they're approaching writing, or how they're telling stories, and that gives you a lot of and what is not working, right? So once you figure that out, you also sort of, put that in your writing, and it's level up for everyone, right? So do that as well. um so this is some tools and websites you can go and practice on. um Purdue has a online writing lab. I'll share these links later. I'll send an email after this webinar is done, and it'll have all these links. You can do grammar book, English grammar, daily grammar. Grammarly blog is also amazing, and Grammar Monster. So all these websites are there where they have exercises, concepts, practice. Okay, take out some time every day to see what's working, what's not, and level up. Yeah. So then we move on to the C, which is create a compelling portfolio and offer. I have already done a webinar on how do you create a kick-ass portfolio. That is on, I think that's on my YouTube channel, which I will also share a link to. So you can go there to watch the details of the webinar. But essentially, when you're creating a portfolio, because every time you go to a client, they're going to ask for, can I have some samples? How many of you face that? You reached out to the client and they've said, give me samples, and you didn't have samples? Put in the chat window. You can do a +1 if many times. Yeah, I can see a lot of +1s often asked for that. Cool. Because clients will, because how do they know that you're a good writer, right? They want to see what you've done, how you write, who you are, all of those, right? But it's interesting because a lot of content writers approach me for work, and when I ask, okay, give me your samples, they don't have anything. And then that conversation just drops, right? What do you do after that? So if you don't have a strong portfolio, spend some time building it. Okay. Uh, so it should have a cover letter, which is basically a message that outlines your value proposition. It could be sent as an email, it could be sent as a LinkedIn message, WhatsApp message, whatever that is, but that's your cover letter. Samples of your work, which is basically stuff that shows your versatility as a content writer. Don't send all blogs or all social media posts unless you're pitching for a specific project, but show them how you can write different things in different ways, right? So they know that you're flexible and you'll be able to work on lots of different types of projects. It should also have your bio, which establishes your expertise. Um, and this is about how many years experience you have. If you're a fresher, how enthusiastic you are about, learning, working, making a mark in this space. Who are the clients that you work for? What is the kind of results that you've delivered? And that also gets amplified by testimonials and social proof, right? Get your clients to give you testimonials, to talk about how amazing it was to work with you. You can get them as LinkedIn recommendations. You can get them as emails. You could just, ask a client, can I have just 2 lines which I can use in my portfolio? Most often people are okay with you doing that, right? And finally, it should also have your contact details so people can reach out to you. Correct contact details, right? Uh, So if your portfolio is missing any of this, again, go back, assess, see what can you strengthen and how can you make yourself shine as a person who's really, really amazing to work with. Yeah. If you look at the other webinar that I've done on making a great portfolio, I've also shown you my portfolio as to what I send out, and you can maybe get some inspiration from it, right? Cool. And again, a reminder, if you have any questions, please put them in a Q&A box because the chat is a bit crowded. Yeah. And finally, it's crafting your offer. Okay. What is it that you're bringing to the table? What other services do you offer? Do you only write like specific projects? Are you available on a retainer? If I sign up for a retainer, do I get any benefit from it? Can you create a package to actually deliver a result for me? For example, do you have a bundle, let's say for um, email, social media ads, etc., which will help me achieve XYZ in revenue? So those are kind of things you need to think about, that what are my services? How can I package them? And then what is the price? So, for example, I'm very clear in my packaging that I only do project based things, right? I don't do, so everything has a life cycle because I don't want to be tied down to something which is very long term. So, I will, let's say, sign up for a journal and say, I will help you write the best journal that is there and get more client views to these articles, right? Or I will write articles for you which have 100% media acceptance rate, right? So what is the value? What is the package that you're bringing to the table, right? Or somebody's asking, what do you mean by a project, right? So my projects are, for example, I will revamp your website so that it gets more views and more engagement and more click-through rates, right? So I will then redo the entire website content for them. Another project could be a research report, that I will do a research report which will help you get more visitors to your websites. And then through the one-on-one conversations, you'll be able to convert more people or get more people into your fold. So that depends how you classify that, but I do that on these kind of chunks based on chunks, right? I won't say give me a retainer and let me do whatever. So I really run away from retainers unless I can outsource them. And then of course, price it right. I'm going to talk about pricing in a little bit, but think about what is it that people are willing to pay. And I'm actually going to do another webinar on pricing alone because I know people have so many questions about this. And there is no one single answer, right? What is the right price? There is no single answer. Even today, I price different projects differently to different clients based on a lot of parameters. Okay. So I'll do a webinar specifically on pricing because I know that's something people need to understand. But for now, just think through these. Yeah. Okay. And then once you have your offer, it's time to engage with a network. And this is the most important thing. Okay. Because so my approach to finding clients, and I haven't done, and I keep saying this, I haven't done any cold outreach in the past, I would say actually 8 years. Since the time I've been in business, I have never done a cold outreach. All of my business is based on my network. And I'm an introvert, okay? I don't have a massive network. I know few people, but those people are trust me enough to recommend me to people they know. And once you get into those degrees of connection, you literally know the whole world, right? Because everybody is just separated by 6 degrees of connection. So I thought I'll answer this question today. How do you start building a network, right? And anytime I tell people build a network, they're like, or leverage your network, I'll say, and they say we don't have a network. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be that you have to be the life of the party and go to every networking event and meet 20 people and get their business cards and never reach out to them again. No. It has to start with your circle of influence. Okay. If you're not living under a rock, there are chances that you know at least 10 to 20 people who could be your friends, family, old colleagues, alumni network, whatever that is, right? So who do you know and then who do they know? So you need to start talking very vocally about what you do, what you want, what kind of clients that you want, what kind of opportunities you want to these people, right? And actively ask them for referrals. And that is going to, and I have built two businesses based on this approach. My first company, when I just quit corporate, we made a crore in the first year. And by the time I left, 3 years later, we were making easily 5, 6 crores a year. We had grown to a 40 people team. And our entire business was built solely on the power of our network. When I left in 2018, I couldn't access the primary network because I had those competitive like clauses built in my exit. So I asked them to connect me to people that they knew. And when I started in 2018, in the first year, I built by working alone, no people with me. I built 40 lakhs. Next year, I built 80 lakhs. Next year, I built over a crore. And this year, it's not even the year's not even over. And I think so this year I'll easily cross 1.6 crores in revenues. Touch wood. but but again, no cold outreach, all based on networks. So I'll try and hammer it into you that you don't have to send 20,000 cold emails, but try and find out that one person who can give you that one project, and everything just snowballs from there. Okay. So how many of you think you have a good network? Type yes in the chat. Or if you don't, if you feel you don't have a good network, you can type no. Okay. So quite a few people are saying yes, they already have a good network, and a majority are saying no, they don't have a good network. So if you don't have one, this is what you need to do. Okay. Start with your circle of influence. Find those 2, 3 people you can reach out to and talk to. Build a good LinkedIn profile and start connecting with people who you might want to work with. Now, when you connect, never send a sales message with a connection. Never say, I'm a content writer, I want to work with you. Don't. It puts people off. Okay. Find something you like about their profile. Find something that you like about the work that they're doing. And then say, hey, you know what? I came across this. I think that's amazing what you're doing, and I'd love to be connected. That's it. That's all you have to do. When you appreciate someone, they are more open to connecting with you, right? And over time, you share value with them, and then finally you say, "This is what I do." Okay, don't start cold selling. Okay. Uh, of course, attend events that your prospects attend, and try and make connections there. But like, for example, and that works for extroverts brilliantly. Okay, but for introverts like me, it doesn't work. So not all strategies are going to work for everyone. You have to figure out what fits you best. Like you asked me to go attend an event and meet people. Sorry, it doesn't happen. But you asked me to talk to one random person that I've met somewhere who we have like a conversation, then I can talk 19 to the dozen, right? So see what works for you and then go and do that. Okay. Ask for referrals. Once you've done a great project with someone or one project with someone and the client is happy, and you have to always make sure the client is happy with what you've done, then ask them, can you also refer me to someone else? That's your next client. And trust me, you don't need more than 4 clients to make over 1 lakh a month. You don't. Because today, even individuals are, paying 30, 40,000 a month to run their social media channels, right? You have to maybe just do 3, 4 posts a week for these people. And if you get 4 of these clients, you've crossed 1 lakh already. So it's not that difficult to make money. It's difficult to make a plan to make money. And that's what I'm hoping that by the end of it, you guys will do. Okay. So ask for referrals. And like I said, don't sell, offer value first. You can connect to 1,000 people, but if you send them a message saying, hey, I'm a content writer, I'm looking for work, can I work for your companies and an opportunity? All that is a waste. So you have to be very, very careful about how you're approaching people and what is the value that you're bringing to the table for them, for them to accept your connection and to be open to talking to you. Okay. Okay. Next is negotiate like a pro. Okay. So what happens a lot of time, I'll ask people, okay, I think your samples are good. Can you send me a rate card? Nobody has a rate card. What do you charge? I don't know. So I hate this per word pricing, because I feel it just sort of puts you in the fish market, proverbial fish market. So you go to, for example, a Sunday market and everybody's haggling with that vegetable vendor or the fish vendor, right? They're like, make it 10 rupees less. But you walk into a food hall or any other big supermarket, there's nobody to haggle with. You just pick the products and you scan them and you walk out, right? Nobody's haggling because um, they're paying for the ambience, the quality, the whatever that value the supermarket brings. So when you charge for the per word price, you are entering the vegetable Sunday vegetable market. When you start charging per project or for your time, then you become the supermarket. So you have to, again, I'll do the pricing webinar and we'll talk about this a lot in detail, but it's important to know your worth and it's important to claim it. So first step is to create a rate card for your services. How much do you want to charge? What is the minimum value below which a project is not viable for you? Okay. I recently let go of a big project. It was 70 website pages and the client was willing to pay me 13,000 rupees per page. Okay, so you can do the math. 70 pages and 13,000 rupees per page, per 600 word page. Okay, I said I will not do it. My minimum viable price for that was 16,000 rupees, 15,000 rupees, sorry. I had quoted 16,000. I was willing to come down to 15. But below that, because I had already so many projects, so my opportunity cost of taking that project was higher than actually the money that would have come to me. So you need to do that math and say, below this project doesn't make sense for me. Okay, so you need to, and that's the last point also, learn to say no, because sometimes the project is just not worth doing. Okay. The next and the important part is find rich clients, which I talked about earlier, right? That there are companies who have the budgets to pay for marketing, and then there are companies and people who don't have the budgets to pay for marketing. So go after those who can afford premium content. It's possible that you may not get direct entry into them, but if you're good enough, companies are willing to make a turnaround, right? So, for example, there was a time when a really big global payments giant wanted me to write some 3 articles for their CEO, and their empanelment process was very complicated, and I was that time a freelancer and they didn't have any space for freelancers, but they wanted me to work on it. So they got their already empaneled agency to pay me for that content, and I had to deliver it to that agency who then delivered it to the client, right? But the price negotiation happened directly with the client, so the agency didn't end up paying me peanuts for it. So if you're good, and there's like, you have to be good, and then clients will also make exceptions and get you on board. Okay, keep some buffer for negotiations, add like a 10-20% cushion to your quote, because everybody loves to negotiate and they like to get discounts. So like I quoted 16, but I was willing to go down to 15, right? um and then ultimately, don't think of it as a win-lose game. Be a little flexible and don't think of everything in terms of monetary stuff. You can also say, what is the lifetime value of that client going to be for you, right? If you don't have any other projects, then you might want to consider that. And don't look at it as a one-time transaction. You might even get a great testimonial or a great brand name on your uh, portfolio if you do that. So I did that. So I speak at a lot of corporate events as well, and initially when I started doing that, I would do that for free, right? Because then I could say, hey, I've spoken to these big companies, and that would get me more paid projects. And today I charge 50,000 for 1 hour of talking. Okay, so imagine I'm talking to you guys for free. You're getting all that value. So, but those brand names that I got initially really helped me to build that value proposition and say, if you want me to come and talk, it's going to cost you 50,000 bucks, right? Uh, and then finally understand where the client is coming from, right? So make the offer lucrative for them, that this is what you're getting with me versus with anyone else. So anytime, for example, a client tries to negotiate with me, I'll say, whatever your name, somebody XYZ, I know budget is a concern, But if you don't work with me, अगर आप मेरे साथ नहीं काम करोगे, तो you go work with some other writer who will keep getting stuck in his review cycles. कुछ नहीं होगा, आप उसको भी pay करोगे, then you will come back and pay me again. So it's अच्छा, just leave these 2-3 thousand rupees and give me the work. And it works almost 99% of the times. Unless the client really doesn't have budget, then we go back to the point where it's like, okay, don't think of it as a win-lose and see if it's, above my minimum viable price, I take it on. So that's about, negotiation and how do you go about doing that. And finally, the last pillar is about delivering consistent quality and results. There is just absolutely nothing better than quality and results to really um, keep clients coming back to you. So I say this again to a lot of people. I have a total of 7 clients, okay? No more. And with 7 clients, I'm billing the number that I already told you. Why that happens is because they stick with me and they keep giving me more and more projects, right? So I don't have to really go look for any other clients because these are the ones who are already paying me so much attention, sending me so many opportunities, right? And that's happened because I have built a certain amount of credibility and trust over time, which keeps them coming back. Okay. So I always exceed their expectations. Whenever they send me something, and I was just telling somebody this yesterday, like, somebody sent their work to me and I said, how many articles did you read to write it? Yeah. Uh, Even today, after 16 years experience, I at least read 10 to 12 articles before I start writing anything. So, which is why um, I'm able to, bring in a unique perspective. I'm able to tell a unique story, and I'm able to give them a piece that really stands out. So that's really important. Can't get away from it. You have to keep communication transparent and timely. I cannot tell you how many times it's happened that freelancers have bailed on my clients without even any notice, right? They'll simply just not show up. And now the client is in a lurch, right? Because they were depending on you to do something, and for whatever reason, and it's also cowardice at some point that you were not brave enough to tell the client, hey, you know what, I'm sorry, I won't be able to do this because something or the other has happened. So life happens to everyone, right? Issues happen with everyone. It's very important to keep the communication open. Let the client know if you're not able to do something because, okay, fine, that project, they might have little discomfort, but they would come back to you for something else. If you vanish, you lost that client forever. Okay. So, and I face this often, right? I have a small kid who is prone to falling sick, like all toddlers. Um, and it happens sometimes that I'm late on my deadlines, which I never used to be before I had a child. So I will tell them, I'm sorry that but my child is down with flu, and that's my priority. So is it okay if I give this to you 2 days later? And if not, I will pass it on to someone who will do it for you, right? So I try and find solutions with clients instead of just, saying black or white, either I do it or I don't do it. So keep communication transparent, keep those channels open, and that's like a foundation of building a longer relationship. Be professional in your interactions. Don't get overly friendly. Don't get, you know, um, uh, very casual. So maintain maintain boundaries and professional, demeanor, whoever you're talking to, because it could really come back and bite you. Uh, and finally, take ownership and accountability for whatever you're doing. And that's like also a point about communication and transparency, right? Don't leave the client hanging. Make sure if you have taken on something, you are seeing it to closure. So that is basically what will, with even a few, like number of clients that you can count on your fingers, you can make a lot of money. Okay, so I'm going to summarize this now. It's very simple. That if you want to enter the highly paid writers club, you need to be better than the best. You need to upgrade your skills and expertise every day. Second, you need to find the right clients, the ones who appreciate those skills that you've built and have the budgets to pay for the quality of your work. Third is pitch for the right projects. Find the right clients and then pitch for the right projects, right? The ones that have the premium content that I talked about initially. Fourth is showcase your worth with a kick-ass portfolio and a clear value proposition, that why are you the best? And finally, get in the right mindset for success. Look at few clients, quality over quantity, extreme accountability, and have the confidence to go out there and claim your worth. If you're able to do these things, nothing can stop you from getting in the highly paid writers club. But if you're falling short on even any one of those, then please make a plan to work on it. Does that resonate with anyone? Type yes if it does in the chat box. Yeah. I can hear a lot of yeses. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So this is what I had to talk about in terms of the framework. And a lot of this I cover in my 8-week intensive. So I'm going to take some time to explain to you what this program is all about. So please stay on if you want to hear more about the program. And after I explain you the program, I will start answering questions that you've put in the Q&A box. Cool. Anyone here who wants to hear about the program, just type yes in the chat window. Yeah. Okay. I can hear. Awesome. Lots of yeses. Cool. So first I'll tell you some stories because I love stories. Okay. So this is Fahim. He's also on the call today. He joined my very first batch of the 8-week program, and he had zero experience in content writing. He was doing, I think he has a furniture, he had a furniture business in Dubai. So from that, he jumped into content writing. In the second month of the cohort, he earned his first 40,000 by writing, with writing projects with me. Then he did amazingly well. So I hired him full time. He's a part of my team now. Until date, I think his earnings overall are over 4 lakhs, and maybe even more. Then there is Sai, who's also become like a very strong pillar of my organization. When she joined, she had a zero experience in content writing. In the second month of the cohort, she got 1.5 lakh worth of projects. And from then, she has earned again over 4 lakhs. There's one more person, Dhanya, who joined the cohort just now. And in 2 weeks, she's taken home a project worth 1.2 lakhs, right? So these are like success stories, which are really, really important to me because one, they're helping me expand my business, and two, are making a difference to somebody's life. So I really love that. And I want you to actually hear from one of them. So I'm going to put Sandhya online. 1 second. Hey, Sandhya.
Hey Supriya, hi. Good morning.
Hi, morning. So would you mind sharing a bit of your experience with the 8-week cohort? Tell us a little bit about yourself and then your journey.
Yeah. So I joined, I think, the cohort number 3, and I came across your program because of a common connection that we have. And I was like, who is this teaching highly paid content writing 8-week intensive program? Because I knew a lot of courses out there in the market where people are teaching content writing, be a freelance content writing. But I was like very curious to know how to be a highly paid content writer, because I myself am a content writer since like last 4+ years. But I wanted to know what is that one thin line that draws between like highly paid writers and just content writers. So I think from your 8-week intensive, what I have learned is not just content writing and like how to be different from the market, but what I learned is more of this entire perspective of being a freelance business operator as well. Because I like during the course, you get these guest speakers who are mostly CTOs and CEOs, so you get to know what is their perspective and what is it that they are expecting you to write for their program, for their articles and everything. And as a content writer, like your perspective of writing is different from what the CTOs or these people who expect a ghost article to be written. And I think this is what differentiates your program, because you get real people who tell you that, hey, I'm expecting this and I'm ready to pay you a little extra, but I want you to give me this kind of quality writing. So that's what we got. I think when I was in the third cohort, there was Jayant who is a sales master, and there is Priyambat Patnaik, who is the marketing head of Growth 27 AI, and Rishabh Dev, who is a AI scholar. All these people had come, so I got an understanding of what is it that these people are expecting, and that made me better as a writer, because I got the perspective of these business owners or the CTOs. So it helped me get better with my writing. And I think, Supriya, you yourself took a session where you were teaching us how to write better with Chat GPT using AI, and also you gave us some Jugado tips about how to humanize the AI written content as well. So that is again a plus one for this program. And throughout the entire program, Fahim has been a great support. He's a very good community manager. Plus, he helps you at every stage of any kind of doubt or any kind of, if you get stuck, he's always there. Plus, I remember in the second week itself, I bagged a project with you. And I remember uh, it was a social media caption that I had to write for some some tech event that was happening. And what I was doing in 10 minutes, you were writing it on real time screen in like less than 10 seconds. And I was like mind blown. I was like, wow, Supriya, you are a genius. So the best part about this program is, guys, it's the review of your project that Supriya gives by herself. So if there are 50 people in the community and 50 people are completing their projects and sending it to Supriya, she sits and reviews it by herself. Like every single project, she sits and reviews by herself. Um, Imagine, with her expertise of 10 plus, totally 16 years of her expertise in, content writing, she's herself sitting and giving you a review and giving you improvement tips. So that is something you don't get in other courses in the market, because they teach you, they give you assignments, and review ke liye they might just outsource it or something. But here you can even book a one-on-one call with Supriya and get to know where you are lacking. She'll give you some improvement tips as well. So I remember I missed a few of the classes in between, but I watched the recordings. Plus, there were some issues that I was facing as a freelancer. Like I remember, some client, he paid me the advance. He gave me a narrative of the entire article, and then he changed the article narrative. So I came back to Supriya and I was like, "Hey, Supriya, what do I do? Like I've received the advance, and I don't find the answer of this on Google." So she gave me a perspective that, okay, if he's changing the narrative, then you know uh, you'll have to negotiate accordingly, and you'll have to recharge for the complete new tip, what do you say, the flow of the article that he has given. So I was getting more of the business tips as well from Supriya. So it has been a wonderful journey for me, and the 8 weeks plus the assignments plus the project that I bagged, I think it was a complete win for me. So heads up to this program.
Awesome. Thank you, Sandhya. Cool. So I just wanted you guys to have a quick look at what people have been doing. I have, let me just share my screen again. Um, so I'll tell you a little bit about what the program covers. I have changed the format this time because there was a lot of demand for the program and I only have that much time. So you're going to get a lot more for a lot less money. So question about fees and everything, you can ask Fahim. I don't want to take up a lot of your time for that. But what I cover in these 8 weeks is first, figure out what is the opportunity, what are your goals, where do you want to go. Second, understand what are the challenges that are stopping you from becoming highly paid content writers, and these are specific to your skill as a writer. Finally, understanding what do the clients want and asking them the right questions to get the right brief that will help you create better content. Week 4, we talk about the fundamentals of writing, right? How do you structure? How do you, tell, create any piece of content, be it an article, blog, social media, email, whatever that is, right? So, what are the fundamentals of creating some awesome content? Then we dive into research and storytelling, which I feel is really, really important. In week six, we also cover some different types of content, specifically like video scripts, like emails, like social media posts, etc. So we'll talk about how each of those specific pieces of content can be written better. Um, then we dive into the business side, where I will walk you through how do you create your portfolio, how do you go and find the right clients, and then finally we also talk about how do you price your services, some basic documentation that you really need to have, and the ethics of a professional content writer. Okay, so that's what we cover in 8 weeks. It's like crammed full of information. And if you want more testimonials, you can go to the program page and you can, get more details there as well. Uh, so like I said, this time I have changed the format a little bit, and you're going to get a lot more interaction time than what you were getting before. So there are 18 recorded sessions, which are unlocked week by week. Uh, this time, there will be a mentor who will do 16 calls with you over the duration of these 8 weeks. Okay. Till the last program, I was only doing 8 calls. Now you're getting 16 calls with a program mentor. You also get 4 live calls with me during this program, which is 2 calls per month. And you have access to do that for the entire year from the time that you have joined, right? Or till the time the program continues, right? So that means 2 per month, which is almost 24 calls if you bother to attend all of them. But those are calls you get with me. And in these calls, you can bring in your questions, you can bring in the writing that you've done, and I'll give you live feedback on it. You also get 40 hours, or actually more, of recording from previous cohorts. So you can go, because every cohort comes up with interesting questions, right? So there's a lot of new insights that get uncovered because they've asked a particular question. So you'll get access to all of those recordings. You can see them at your own pace. You will also get lots of guides and worksheets, so you will be able to apply concepts. You'll get multiple practice assignments. You also become a part of a WhatsApp group, which is where I share most of the writing opportunities that come my way. I want to be very clear. This group has a preference for writing opportunities. It doesn't mean there's a guarantee. I'm not here to find you clients. I'm here to teach you how to find clients. The bonus is, yes, you get writing opportunities, but that's not a part of the program. Okay. So if you sign up, please don't come back to me saying, why didn't I get an opportunity? If you're good, if you worked, if you have leveled up, there is definitely some stuff that will unlock for you. But it is only something that I do because I want this group to flourish. It's not a part of the learning experience. Okay. You will also, this time, like earlier, I was reviewing only one assignment. This time, the mentors who have been coached by me for several months now and who work with me on a daily basis, they will be reviewing 11 assignments from you, right? So instead of one, you get feedback on 11 assignments. And then you can obviously also get feedback from the peer group, that's the community. And it's, I think what I like best about this group is that it's turned out into this amazing, community of people who are very supportive, who are very helpful, who are very willing to let each other rise up. And that's what I really like about this program, and which is why you can't just sign up. There is an application process. You have to apply. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a lot about yourself. And we're going to see how that fits, right? Are your goals aligning with ours? Are, your values aligning with ours? Is your who you are as a person aligning with the kind of people that we want to work with? And we'll assess all of that. And then Fahim or Trisha from my team will call you to have a discussion on all of that and see if it is of value to you. And then you can take a call whether you want to join the program or not, right? So there's a detailed application process. This is a form. I will send you a link to this form and you can apply using this link. But the batch starts on 18 December. So you can, second, let me just send the form link. So you can send in your applications And once you've shortlisted a few folks, the team will start calling you, and then you can ask all of the details about what am I going, what is in the course, what am I going to get, what is the fees, blah, blah, blah. All of that you can ask the team who's going to call you. I have put the link to the application form in the chat window, so please feel free to go fill out your application. I'm going to now start answering the questions that you guys have put in the Q&A box. If you have more questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A box and I'll start answering them. Okay. Okay, already lots of questions. Cool. Kanan, is your 8-week program for newbie content writers? So, Kanan, actually, both types of content writers have joined the program, newbies and established writers. I even had once a girl who was still in school, though I told her mom that she's too young, but they were insistent that she really, really wants to be a part of the program. So we took her in. Um, and according to her, she's got like lots of valuable feedback and lots of valuable insights into what she wants to do as a content writer. So yes, it's designed for everyone because I start from the basics. Uh, I'm not teaching you English though or any particular language. I'm teaching you what is required to be a highly paid content writer. Okay. So it's and about your question on even from India, all of my clients are India based except one who's US based. Other than that, all my revenue comes from India based clients. It's a myth that Indian clients don't pay well. Okay. Alok is asking, how do you manage to acquire knowledge about all the niches you worked on? I read a lot. And if there's a new niche that I don't know anything about, I will read even more. So there was once an article I had to write about semiconductors. I'm manufacturing semiconductors. I knew nothing about it. I must have read at least 40 articles before I actually started writing it. Second is I always ask clients questions. It's not my job to be an expert in a niche, though it is preferred. They are the ones who have to tell me what this actually entails. And if you ask questions, clients are more than willing to answer. So always, always ask questions, and that will give you all the information you need to start working on any assignment. Okay. Okay. Is it really necessary to know about the consumers and their behavior with respect to the niche? Yes, it is. If you don't know it, ask your client that who's your target reader? What are they looking for? What is the message that you're trying to communicate? Because all that is really important for you to write stuff that will appeal to those people who are reading it, right? Or who are interacting with it. And only when they're engaged, they will take the action that your client wants. So yes, it is super, super, super important. Okay. So Deshna is asking, I still can't find my niche, but I have interest in lifestyle, travel, skincare. But these groups are not much beneficial, is what I've understood. See, again, there is a difference in what um, a lifestyle client will pay versus what a technology or a finance client will pay, right? But that said, all these niches also spend a lot of money on content creation, sometimes more than the bigger niches. So this detergent thing that I talked about, the wine thing I talked about, even there, to write a 500 word blog about a wine, I was charging 5,000 rupees. So that was 10 rupees a word. That's way more than what some of the people are earning, like less than 1 rupee to write in these niches. So there is work. There are people willing to pay. You just have to find the right approach and have the right portfolio. Okay. If you approach them with something that doesn't have any value for them, they will not pay you. It's as simple as that. Why would I want to shell out more money if I don't get enough value, right? So I'm not going to say that there's no money in these niches. It may be less than what is there in the tech and finance and legal kind of fields, but there's still enough. Like if you're getting 10 rupees a word, you write 10,000 words, you've got 1 lakh rupees, which is okay. 10,000 words in a month means less than 500 words a day. which I think is a very comfortable lifestyle. Okay. Okay. Kanan is asking, what kind of writing framework is fit for a blog about detergent? Um, I'm surprised that you wrote one. Uh, so, okay, this framework thing I'm going to cover in the 8-week program. I've got to leave something for people who actually sign up. But I sort of feel frameworks are a little, they're overrated. Okay. What is more important is, imagine you are a consumer of a detergent. What do you want to read? What do you want to know? Once you answer those questions, writing things becomes easier, right? Because you are solving a problem for the consumer. I'm not reading content just for the heck of it. I'm reading it because either it tells me something new or interesting, or it keeps me engaged, or it solves a problem for me. If you have figured that out, then frameworks are irrelevant. You just, you go ahead and solve that problem for them. I hope that answers your question. So they're asking what books we have to read. Every book that you can get your hands on. Seriously, every book that you can get your hands on. YouTube link. Fahim, can you maybe send the YouTube link, my YouTube channel link on the chat window also, please? Okay. Can I please suggest some sites where I can get freelance work? Okay. So I don't recommend sites, but there are people who go to Freelancer and Upwork and those kind of sites to find work. I just feel it's very crowded and you will spend more time bidding for projects than actually working on projects. So I also always recommend go to LinkedIn, find the right people, reach out to them, and then uh, get projects that way. Okay. How long does it take to gain clarity and confidence while getting your first client? I think it depends from person to person, totally, because um, yeah, it totally depends on people's personality. So I'm somewhat of a jump first, ask questions later kind of a person. So I would take on projects and then later figure out how to do them. But I have that confidence in my ability that I would be able to do that. But I also know, like one of my business partners is the kind of person who needs to spend a lot of time thinking, planning, organizing before they will take that step, right? So it just depends on who you are as a person. How do we gain authority in the marketplace? One is shore up your knowledge, read a lot, listen to a lot of good people, follow the industry influencers, write well. If you don't have clients, just write for yourself, publish it on Medium, WordPress, wherever, on LinkedIn. Talk a lot about your niche on LinkedIn. Um, and then when you do find clients, and you do work for them, ask them for testimonials, right? Because people always believe other people. That okay, if that's why we read reviews on Amazon before we go buy something, right? Because we want to see how other people's experience has been with this particular product. And that's the same for services. So the more social proof you're able to show people, the more your authority builds. And I hope that answered your question. Okay. Do I conduct any offline classes? No, not yet. Okay. Do I really think that content writing can be a profitable venture in the era of AI? So this question, everybody asks me this question. So here's, and I answered this during the webinar also. Here's the fact. I don't want to scare anyone, but here's the fact. It's not just content writing, it's every industry. So the grunt work in every industry, the labor intensive work in every industry is going to be wiped out by AI. Because like, why will I pay you to write stuff that I can just get a $20 ChatGPT subscription and do in house, right? But what people are going to pay for is your brain. How well can you think? How well you can derive new meaning from the information that has been provided to you? How well can you tell the story or coax the story out of the client, right? So it's going to be a lot more about thinking, about creative storytelling, about relationships with clients going forward. And if you're able to do that, you will continue to make profits from content writing. But if you're stuck on, okay, I will write 40, 50,000 words a month, then I'm sorry, there is no future in this field. And I'm being very honest because um, I'm not here to make money off of you. I'm just very, concerned about like getting people on the right track. Okay. Um, so if you're not leveling up, then you will get obsolete. If you are leveling up, if you're putting in that work, and the work is really, really important. No, there are no shortcuts. Nobody gets to the top by shortcuts. Okay. So that's like a very long answer to a very short question. Um, okay. Who else is there? So Kanan, I already answered this about frameworks. I don't put much stock on them. Supriya, do you think you would have done reasonable cold outreach? You would also have more high-paying projects. So, to answer that question, Kanan, there are two aspects to a project, right? One, you have to get a project. Second, you have to deliver the project. Okay. And for that, you need to have bandwidth. Last year, I left 25 lakhs worth of money on the table because I couldn't take that project. So my problem has never been that there is no work. My clients, touch wood, are pouring work on me. My problem has always been delivery. I don't have enough good people to deliver these projects, which is why this whole content collective was born, because I wanted to, like, I looked for people, I just couldn't find any good ones. So I said, okay, fine, I will train them, right? And people who join the 8 week intensive will tell you that, I pass on so much work to them. Just last month, this girl sent me an invoice for 1 lakh of work she had done for me in the month. And those are the things that make me happy, right? So I don't need to do cold outreach because I don't have the delivery mechanism. And I don't want it to become like one mega enterprise. I have done that with my previous company. My life goals don't align with it. I don't want to work more than 6 hours a day. Okay. So there are lots of considerations why I don't do it. I'm making enough money, which is good to sustain my needs. I don't want to have like $1 million in the bank and then do nothing with it. So I take literally 1 week off every month. In fact, day after tomorrow, I'm leaving for a 12-day chutti. So, and if you join my 8 week program, you will understand why life goals are important. um, but yeah, like the reason I don't do cold outreach is because I don't need to. I have enough and more touch wood going on for now. Okay. What if they want to settle for vouchers of their company in exchange for content writing? I don't know what that means, Sadaf. I'm going to leave that unanswered for now. Ganesh, is it for beginners? Like I said, it's for both beginners and experienced. Because what I'm trying to address are foundational issues with content writing and hoping that, people understand those foundations before they actually go and make a mark in the content writing space. Um, okay. For me, this journey has two aspects: deepening skills and business. How focused is this program on deepening the writing skill? Okay, so the program is more focused. If you saw the outline I showed, we are doing more about the skill and we're doing a less about business, because it's my belief if you have the skill, business will show up, right? But what I found is most people don't have the skill to write well. So we are focusing more on that. And even after the program is over, you can be a part of the cohort, like a part of the WhatsApp group, and you can learn from your peers. And like I said, you get all access pass to the calls that I will be doing 2 a month. So you can join them, you can ask your questions there, etc., etc. So there's a lot of learning which happens even after the 2 months are over. Okay. Alok is asking, will assignments be reviewed by you or someone else? So the 11 assignments will be reviewed by the mentors. When you join the live call and you show me your assignment on the live call, I will give you feedback right there. Okay. All the questions about fees, I am going to leave to Fahim. When you apply, he will call you and he will tell you all the details. Alok is asking, if I'm not sure about my ideal client, is this program relevant for me? So the first week talks about how do you figure that out. So yes, if you don't have any clarity, I'm hoping the program will give you clarity on where do you want to go and, find the ideal clients. Are there any chances for Hindi writers to be paid high? So I think vernacular market is booming. Okay. But you need to again know the right people. I know I get a lot of requests from my clients who are writing books in vernacular languages. There are apps in vernacular languages, and I'm sure they are looking for content writers also. So, for instance, I had this book I wrote for a client, and he wanted a Hindi translation. And I think the translator charged them some 1.5, 2 lakh rupees to translate that 30,000 word book, right? So, and all those media publications, etc., in vernacular languages are also looking for writers. So, yes, there is scope. It ultimately boils down to have you zeroed into the right place. Uh, yeah. Can I give you a template for how to write a proposal to the client? Yes, so that's covered in the 8-week program. The documents, etc., we will talk about that. Why do I not prefer retainer clients? Why I don't prefer retainer clients is because, like I said, my freedom is more important to me. The reason I left corporate was because I didn't want my time to be beholden by someone. So when you have retainers, you can't just take off on a whim, like I'm going for 15 days, and when I travel, I don't work. So I've told my clients I'm not available, which is why when there's a project-based thing, I'm able to say I'm finished with the project. I will take new projects once I'm back. But on a retainer, the show must go on, right? So which is why I stay away from retainers unless I can outsource them or if I have a team who's willing to work on it. So in the last year or so, I do have retainers which are ongoing, but those are retainers which make sure that my bandwidth is not stuck in them. So it's my personal preference to not do it. Okay. Is it good to start my own WordPress site for blogging? Is writing for platforms like Medium useful? If you want to build a portfolio, yes, sure, you can write. A lot of people also like blog consistently and build their own following and later monetize that following. I just feel that that process is a little long drawn in terms of monetization. So, I mean, I go the ghostwriting route, writing for other people and making money off it. But yes, if you want to create a portfolio showcase, please go ahead and create your own blog. Yeah. Is there better scope to content writing than authoring books and selling courses out of it? Yeah, I mean, book writing is a separate thing, but all of these, like everything that you see out there is content, right? And somebody sitting and writing it. There are emails, there are blogs, there are video scripts, there are like, for instance, I charge around 50,000 for a 1 minute video script. So there is just like all social media, those ad copies, those meta tags. There's just so much content which is out there, and even webinar scripts, etc. The decks. Everybody is looking for content everywhere. You just have to. Books is one part of it, but that's like a small subset of it. But yeah, content writing for other people, other brands is big business. Okay. Is there any age criteria for content writer jobs? No, there isn't. I'm 30 now. Can I start this now? I started when I was 33. So, no, I don't think there's an age criteria. Um, okay. Will this also help in structuring my courses and curriculum? I'm not sure, Amit, what you mean by that, but I don't. So, I'm not talking about courses and curriculum in this program. It's mainly the program is for as a content writer who's wanting to earn money by writing for other people and brands. If you want to do that, that's what the whole program is about. Cool. So I guess I am done with the question. I answered quite a few of them. Okay, there's some in the chat window. Okay, let me go scroll and see. Neil is asking, I want to start my career in this field from scratch and build my skill set. Can you please tell me how to get started? This whole webinar was about this, and also the 8-week program will cover some part of it. How can you become a part of my team? I rarely hire full-time folks. I just have 3 full-time people in my team. But yes, you can work with me on a freelance basis. But like I said, priority is for the people who signed up for the 8-week program. So that's a democratic process. I will send assignment. They will send me their samples and codes, and whoever's the best fit, I give them work. So that's right now the only way to work with me. Um, What's the difference between copywriting and content writing? I have done an email on this in the 30-day course. If you haven't, Fahim, can you also put a link to the free 30-day course in the chat, please? There's a free 30-day email course that I have. You can sign up for that course and you will get answer to this question, I think in day 3 or day 4 email. Okay. Rajivna, since you've already spoken to Fahim, I hope he would be able to answer this question for you. Free editing and proofreading tools. Grammarly free is quite good. You can use that. How do you get high paying clients? It's that LinkedIn and network approach that I spoke about. And again, in the program, I expand that on detail. I'm also planning to do a bonus module for the 8-week folks on how to find clients and how to build a network. So I'll come back to you on that also. No, I don't support any PhD research. Um, my key interest area is motivation. So I think the community provides that a lot, right? Everybody is willing to, like I said, level up folks, willing to give tips and encouragement and working together and all of that. So once you're part of the community, I'm sure you'll get that loads. Check for plagiarism. I use a paid version of Grammarly. There is also small SEO tools, I think, that allows you for plagiarism checker. I think Copyscape is the best plagiarism thing, which is also very cheap. You can like get really good scans for a very, very minimal amount of money. Uh, yeah, cool. So I guess I have answered all the questions. I know I've skipped all the fees ones and the program details ones because, like I said, please apply to the program. The application costs nothing. You can apply. Tell us a little bit about yourself. We will shortlist you. Fahim or Twisha will call you and you can ask them all the questions that you have about the program, and they will also explain the fee structure, payment plans, all of that to you. I didn't want to waste a lot of your time or my time talking about the nitty-gritties and details when you can get that one-on-one from these folks. So I'm looking forward to seeing some of you in the 8-week program. If not, we will keep doing these webinars and you can come and attend these and learn. And, I'm very happy to have these conversations with you folks. So I guess I have taken a lot of your Sunday morning today. Thank you so much for joining in. And hopefully I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a good rest of the weekend. Thank you.